we finally get to meet Dr. Nikki, who is smoking in more ways than one. If you watch this week's episode of You, you're going to realize why that joke is so hilarious and why Dr. Nikki is basically the hottest stock around. We're going to be talking all of that and more on the You After show, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, After Buzzers. Thank you so much for tuning into the You After show here at AfterBuzz TV. I am your host, Sam Davidson, and it's just me and this one beautiful girl, her Maggie Clark.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie Clark.
And we are in the live chat. We miss our two other co-hosts, of course, but we have enough to talk about in this episode to keep us here quite a while. So again, thanks guys for tuning in. Please let us know your thoughts in the chat and just tell us everything because, no, do not tell me everything.
We won't talk about the book until the very end of our show.
I almost cheated the other day. Sorry, but I didn't. I did not cheat, so we will do a special segment about the book at the end. So please stay tuned for that. So we're going to be breaking down tonight's episode where Beck and Joe see a new doctor, or Paul, as he's calling himself, and the worst surprise party ever, and a possible new love interest for Joe. That was fast. Again, we're here, and we love talking about this. So let's continue. Overall thoughts for tonight's episode.
Ooh, let me think. So first of all, I'm sad that Beck and Joe broke up. They were so happy in their relationship. They were, enjoying this blissful everything ship, like the name of the episode, and it was so short-lived. So that was upsetting to see that. And I also was excited to see John Stamos finally. We've been waiting for him all season to show up, and I thought he looked very, sexy and rugged with his beard, and it was more of a serious role to see him in.
I felt like it was a goofy role in a way because he was just doing bizarre things, and you can tell this guy is kind of very odd deep down, and it's keeping everything in me to not figure out who he was in the book because I feel like he's just going to be really important, and I'm really excited we met him. It wasn't my favorite episode. I felt like it was a new season in a way. We had, the lead up to the relationship and them finally getting together, and now we have the downfall and like what happens after. So I kind of felt like it was the beginning of a new season of this. I
really agree with you because it was almost like Peach's death was the mid-season finale, and then we're kind of picking up the pieces and introducing new characters and moving on post Peach. May she rest in peach.
Yes. Oh, God. I would have loved to have seen that funeral, though. I wish they would have showed it.
Oh, my gosh. It would have been over the top.
Yeah, it would have been great. But shockingly, Joe and Beck are in a honeymoon phase after she dies and are just having grief sex. And, he speaks on it later on, which we'll get into. But do you think that their relationship at this point, especially after Peach died, was inappropriate? Okay, it was obviously inappropriate because he killed her, but putting that aside, let's say Joe didn't kill her, but this hibernating with your significant other and just encompassing yourself in them is not healthy regardless?
I see why you're saying that, but at the same time, I feel like in my experience, whenever I've been in a new relationship, you're so obsessed with one another that you just want to be together 24/7 and just really discover each other more and more. And it's almost like you do kind of close yourself off from the world. And I've had friends who, when they get a new boyfriend, they kind of fall off the face of the earth for a little while just because they're so obsessed with that relationship. So I feel like that wasn't that abnormal to me. It's abnormal because he's now murdered 2 people for her.
Yeah, and he's comforting her, upon their death and upon Peach's death. And it's very bizarre. But this episode, we start to feel bad for him and thinking, God, she's kind of a bitch. And why would we think that? He's a psycho.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel that way. I feel like she's a friend in mourning. And we didn't really see her grief as much as I expected to. I thought that we would see a little bit more of her sorrow from the loss of her best friend. But then she was talking about her sleeping bag and how she was comparing her relationship with Peach to the sleeping bag that she was like, it was moldy and gross and smelly and she couldn't wait to get rid of it, but she just didn't have the heart to throw it away. And then she was relieved when she lost it. And then the same thing, she felt that same way about Peach. So that's very telling about her relationship with Peach.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked that line because I understood it. Because, I don't know, I think that's kind of, there's certain people in your life that just when, you know, when they disappear, whether they move or they pass away, that life is just kind of easier and you feel like the worst person in the world for saying that because you love them. But, you know, I thought that was very real. And it's like this episode, the first half was a romantic comedy, kind of. You know, these two people falling in love, recreating their first kisses and making little stargazing rooms and just very adorable things. He gets her a job at the bookstore. I love this. She was just so lazy. I'm sorry, but she was just like the laziest employee and so entitled. And it made me not like her so much.
I know. And poor Ethan had to be the one to say something to Joe. And, you know, you could tell he was uncomfortable, but he's like, look, man, like she's leaving the register open. She's late every day. This is unacceptable. So, yeah, she was not a good employee.
But who just goes around at a bookstore and part of your job is putting books away and putting them in the right place in alphabetical order? Like, that's just really probably one of your main things to do. And she just would leave them, random books on top of stacks. I'm not an OCD person whatsoever, but I was like, ooh, that's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wasn't feeling it. Wasn't feeling her excuses. I would love to see this episode through her eyes.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah. Maybe the bookstore was an escape for her from her sorrow.
She was acting like she was Belle in Beauty and the Beast.
I know.
But she was not captured.
Because she was on a pedestal with Joe. She knew that she was this untouchable princess that he just fawned all over and would do anything for.
Yeah.
So she was milking it for what it was worth.
Well, things start going downhill. Like we said, the first real thing was having the conversation about her job. And then we just get a little random scene, which I'm assuming is going to continue to be a thread because, you know, it was last week where we had Joe being pulled over by the cop. And the cop is back. We could tell he wasn't done with Joe. And, you know, he called to ask for the owner of the bookstore. What was his name?
Oh, Mr. Mooney.
Yes, of course, Mr. Mooney.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mooney's dead, obviously, right? He's dead. Where's Mr. Mooney?
Well, I mean, they haven't explained that really in the show. So do you want me to? I mean,
No,
he's just...
I guess don't
Okay, I
tell
won't say
us.
anything. I won't say anything.
Just look it up on the internet later. Just kidding. I'm not going to. I'm just really going to control myself. I have a lot of TV to watch, so I'll be distracted. Okay, so he pretends to be him, does the whole story, and the cop seems like he believes him, and that's that. But this is the first time Joe has realized you are messing up a little bit. He messed up last week. Big time.
Big time.
I mean, he
With the jar of pee.
Yeah, well, with everything. I mean, he was just like going unconscious in Peach's house,
Right.
like probably leaving blood everywhere too. We didn't even talk about that. But now he's kind of starting to realize, I'm getting close to being caught here.
Yeah. I think that he handled that situation very well. He instantly said, you know, this is Mr. Mooney speaking. And I think he may have thrown the cop off the scent. What do you think? Do you think we'll see the cop again?
I just don't know why they would do that storyline if it wasn't going to kind of have a purpose. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, I'll be kind of annoyed because that was a waste of our time. But I think it will. And even if it's not in the books, they've added some things.
Absolutely. It's definitely the show and the book, for the most part, are parallel, but there's a lot of different timeline shifts and details that have changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we also want to remind you guys that we have a lot of other really amazing shows at AfterBuzz that we cover just about everyone that you can possibly think of.
That's right. And we have a special message for you, After Buzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. And by subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you will help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. And let us know you did so in the comments below, and we will thank you on air. For now, thank you so much for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Awesome, thank you. And of course, we have this one last hurrah, this surprise dinner that Beck throws for Joe for being a bad employee and kind of a bitch. And she does it where he keeps all of his bodies.
Yes. That was a little odd that all of a sudden she has this romantic evening in the basement of the bookstore in the book dungeon, and they're having this romantic meal of meatball subs right where Benji was murdered.
Yeah, her ex-boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
I love that. And I put air quotes around whatever, by the
Totally.
way, for those listeners. But yeah, and Joe made this really funny comment about how he loves her so much, basically, that it's okay she has candles all around these books, which could destroy them forever.
His most prized possessions
Yes.
in the entire world are these books. And that was his first thought, I think. Oh no, there's candles by my books, these first editions.
For a second, I was like, don't mess up, Beck, because I don't know, you could be next in that little book freezer.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised he didn't walk around like blowing out all the candles before they sat down
I know.
to eat.
He was just like dying inside,
Yep.
and then was just pretending, but he always is enjoying himself when he's with her. He thinks that they are absolutely perfect together, but they're not. She mentions she's been having some trouble with the loss of Peach, and she's been seeing a therapist.
Right.
Which, I mean, someone that doesn't want you to see a therapist is kind of, that's a red flag.
I agree. Absolutely. I think everyone should go to therapy at some point in their lives. And if you're dealing with the loss of not one, but two people in your life, I think that that's definitely a way to go. You absolutely need to seek help if you need it.
Yeah, and then she does this little dribble drop hint about her birthday, and Joe talks to Lynn about it, who's, I guess, Annika is at some grief retreat, probably rebuilding her following.
I just feel like all of her friends are so wishy-washy. You think that I feel like Lynn actually wanted this party for her own benefit.
Yeah.
Lynn just wanted to have an excuse to get wild and meet new boys and hook up. And she wasn't really thinking about Beck's best interests.
Yeah, I like Annika. I don't like Lynn very much.
I feel like I haven't seen enough of Lynn to really establish a solid opinion of her, but so far I don't like her.
So what did you think about Beck's reaction to her party? I mean, I thought it was a pretty nasty thing to do.
I agree. I feel like if I was in that situation, I would be like, oh, here I am. Okay, all these people are gathered for me.
Yeah, suck it up.
So you know what? I'm going to make the best of it, and I'm going to say hi to all my friends. But she just stormed out, which I think is really disrespectful to the people who came out specifically to celebrate her.
Yeah.
And of course she didn't want it. I understand, but she shouldn't have reacted that dramatically. She could have saved until after the party to say, you know what, Joe, this is not what I wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what a normal person would do. But this is where we start getting hints that she is possibly cheating on him. And there are these text messages. And at first it seems like she is, and it seems like she isn't. Then at the end it seems like she is again. We will get into all if it's Dr. Nikki or what's going on. But Joe gets caught stalking. It's about time. Because I was like, how many shots of these can we do with Beck looking very close to where he is, but claiming she never sees him? Because it happens a few times, and we're seeing the show through his eyes, so he gets scared, and it's like she didn't see him. But this time I was like, come on.
Yeah. I could have sworn, when I was watching the show, I thought that she did see him that first time she turned around. I was like, there's no way she didn't see him.
In tonight's episode?
In tonight's episode.
Yeah.
Because she turned around and looked at him and then kept walking. And I was like, she definitely saw him.
What if... Okay, I mean, I don't know why I'm telling you this because you've read the books and you know what's going to happen, but I'm like, what if she's known this whole time he's been stalking her, and maybe not to the extent that he has been, but really doesn't care? Liked it a little bit because she's a narcissist. I don't know.
I mean, I think she definitely loves being the center of attention and she wants people to be obsessed with her, but I don't know.
And I don't think she's really smart enough for that, like calculated enough. But I have this secret desire for her to be some dark, evil.
Like she would know about the fact that he has her phone?
Yeah, that he has her phone, or, I mean, not that, but maybe like she knows about Benji and has this other personality that just, whatever.
Whoa.
Or like I assumed, but I didn't want to make assumptions. But I don't think that's the case.
It's a dark theory.
It is. It's definitely a dark theory. They break up, and, you know, we get to really learn some more about this doctor, Dr. Nicky, and Joe's pretending to be some guy, Paul, that's gay, and is explaining his relationship with his boyfriend. And so it's a very interesting way to tell the story this episode, because throughout the whole thing, both are kind of narrating and we're seeing these different sessions. I guess it's very hard for you, Maggie, to say what you thought off the bat because you know exactly who this character is, right?
Right. Yeah, I know all about Dr. Nicky and what happens to him. But again, the book and the show could end up working out differently as they have in the past. But I do like how in this episode they framed the session between Joe and Dr. Nicky with Joe almost looking like he was going to take Dr. Nicky out. And, you know, with the mail opener going into his sleeve and then he was creeping behind him as he went on the elevator. I thought that was really exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, is he going to stab him in the neck right now?
They just have John Stamos one episode. I'd be so pissed.
I know, me too. I'd be upset. So thankfully that didn't happen, but I think he has plans for Dr. Nicky.
I think so. And I don't know, Dr. Nicky, though, bit inappropriate, you know, just seems, I think the marijuana smoking, and I sound like such an old lady when I say that. Like, I love it. I'm like
the Mary Jane.
Yeah, the Mary Jane that he's smoking during the session. No, I think, oh God, I don't know if you can tell us if he did that in the book. I would be interested to know, because I just think it's unless it becomes a big storyline that he's some kind of stoner, which I don't think it will, it's an indication of he doesn't have boundaries. And so if he doesn't have boundaries and Bex is coming on to him, you know, in some way, then that to me was an interesting choice to like warn us that he doesn't have boundaries. That's
a really great observation that you made. But I mean, can you just imagine if you were in a therapy session and your therapist like lit up a joint in front of you? I just feel like it's so, like, that's fine if you want to do that on your own time, but I feel like when you're working in a one-on-one, you know, therapy session, when someone is pouring their heart out to you, I feel like that's completely unprofessional.
I love how he said glaucoma.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine, but why don't you wait? I mean, the session's, 50 minutes long? Like, can't you wait before you light up?
I just think that Joe should have made it, like, obviously changed his name and her name, but not say that he was gay, because switching pronouns could be so easy when you're telling stories like that. And he is really divulging a lot of personal information.
Right.
Just pretending to be somebody else.
You're so right. And he could be deep into the conversation and just let like she or her slip.
Exactly.
And he felt like there was one moment where he kind of struggled with that.
Yeah.
That we did see.
I know. I don't know. Let us know what you guys think about Dr. Nicky, because I'm really interested to know both people that have read the book and people that have not read the book. Let's talk about Beck's session with Dr. Nicky, the one that we saw. I mean, that was obviously a very small part of it. And we don't know if they've been involved or what, but the stuff she was saying, you know, the more he likes me, the less I like him. And it was, you know, a very kind of typical girl in her early 20s, probably anybody in their early 20s, the way that they would talk to a therapist. But it's weird. We're somehow rooting for this guy that's actually a serial killer at this point. I'm like, that's so rude. Why would you talk about him like that?
I know. It's amazing that, like, we're so sucked into the show that we have those feelings, but it's the truth. He's the voice that we've been following now 7 episodes, and he's the hero of this story, so to speak. So I get why you feel that way, because I feel the same.
And it would be sad if he was a nice guy and didn't do anything, then she would have treated him really badly. Like, if we could just pretend for a second that he didn't do all of those other things and was who he portrays himself as. I don't know. I think that would be a really shitty way to treat someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
but
we do have a lot of action in our chat, Sam.
What's going on?
So, heyo, Nico, thank you so much for commenting. You're being so great right now. I love reading your comments. And you're saying it was interesting how they shifted the voiceover from Joe's inner thoughts to him telling his story to Dr. Nikki. I thought that was really cool, too. And heyo, Nico also thinks that why haven't the police searched for fingerprints at Peach's house? I think maybe because they thought that it was just a clean suicide, so they didn't really have any reason to look for foul play. And then, let's see what else. We've got a lot of good stuff going on, so we'll hit the chat a little later in our show again.
Yes, absolutely. We're so glad that you guys are in there. I love
keep
it.
Commenting.
So again, they break up and Joe goes over there after his session with Dr. Nikki, and Nikki said something to him, to let her go, almost something along those lines. And he gives her Scrabble board back and just ends things very abruptly. I thought she was going to call back after him. Did you? No,
I don't think so. I think it seemed pretty done at that point to me. Honestly, I think she needs time to do some serious soul searching and some grieving and just figure out who she is.
Yeah, I mean, she probably should stay away. Let's be real here, because she's this close to being the next Candace.
And I'm also surprised that Joe took the breakup so easily. I thought that he would be throwing things and breaking things and crying and totally distraught, but he seems okay.
Well, he had that visit from Candace, or his conscience, whatever it is. And, are you going to leave her alone? Is what happened to me going to happen to her? And I think that freaked him out. And I mean, he probably does feel guilt. We haven't gotten official confirmation that he killed Candace, but it's pretty obvious that, she probably tried to break up with him and then he killed her.
Right.
So I think he made a very direct effort because he probably feels guilt from what he did before, but that's not saying it's going to last very long. And do you remember that woman's name? His next door neighbor.
Karen, I think, is the friend of Victoria.
Yeah, she's the friend of Victoria. And so, her name's Karen, and she's eyeing him from the second she sees him.
Yeah.
Girl, run.
Yes, run away, Karen.
I mean, because it's sad. I mean, at least he targeted Bex, and Bex didn't, she was manipulated, but this girl targeted him.
I think he needs a rebound, and I think that this rebound will help him move on from Beck. So I don't know, is this going to allow him to forget about her and move on, or is it just going to make him miss her more because he's going to compare the two women? And then he's going to go after Beck again.
I don't know. I mean, I saw scenes from next week, so we'll see what happens.
Yes.
But we all know that this season is not over yet.
Can we talk about that? What? The next week's preview?
Yes, predictions.
Yes.
We'll definitely talk about it. But before we get to those and our special segment and all of that fun stuff, we just want to remind you guys that we are also on iTunes as well as a podcast version, and you can download them for free. We'd really appreciate it if you leave us 5 stars, however many stars you want. But if you don't want to give us 5, then just move on. But we'd really love for you guys to do it. And if you do it, we'll give you a shout out live on the air. It really helps us here. So please and thank you.
And a thumbs up on YouTube, please.
Yes. And we always love your comments. Please keep them coming. Okay, so our special segment, one of them is the deep dive confessions of stalker stories. I know that you, Maggie, have one.
I do. So I mentioned to you guys I was out of the country with my husband, and he and I were in Paris. So we were jumping in an Uber. We were waiting outside of our hotel, and this other young couple comes out of the hotel, and they ask us to take their photo because they said that they were leaving. They had only been in Paris for less than 24 hours. And they were like, can you take our photo? We haven't taken any photos. And we said, sure, no problem. So we take their photo. We get to talking. We find out that the male in the relationship, he lives in Los Angeles, as do my husband and I. And he said that he was only in Paris for 24 hours because it was a short vacation because he was filming a movie in Bulgaria. And that was it. So we didn't find out any information about this couple. And we're like, cool, good luck on your movie set. Bye. And then my husband and I jump in this Uber and we're like, we got to find out who this guy is. You know, he's an actor. He's working on a film. So we find out what movies they're filming in Bulgaria. We find out his movie. We look on IMDb. We find him, find his name, find his Instagram, find his girlfriend's Instagram. And all of a sudden we know all about the two of them and look at all of their photos of their relationship. And all of a sudden it's like we're best friends.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
But I met a really cute guy that I've been trying to viciously stalk.
Oh.
He was a camera guy on a red carpet, and I can't find him.
Oh no,
I can't find him.
I can help you.
Okay, yeah. Everyone's like, I can help you. I'm like, great. Let's help find him. I randomly
Do you know
asked
his
somebody.
name?
I do. I just his first name, and it's an odd one, but I don't think his first name is his name on Facebook. So I should probably just wait till I meet him again. So. It's natural, but
You'll probably cross paths again sometime soon.
Like Serendipity, that movie where they try to find each other for years, and then by the end of the movie you're exhausted. I don't even care they got together, so I don't want that to happen to me.
Okay,
you guys have any advice, let me know.
We're gonna find this guy.
Okay, we have a little bit of news and gossip as well for you guys this week.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, guys, we already touched on this a little bit, but Twitter and Instagram were lit up with comments about John Stamos, a.k.a. Uncle Jesse, a.k.a. Dr. Nicky's marijuana use on the show, with a lot of fans, up in arms about him smoking pot on the set, even though I'm sure it was a prop. And you know what I say to that, Sam? I say, have mercy. That's my joke
Michelle
of the day.
Tanner joke. Or no,
Right.
sorry, it's Stephanie Tanner, excuse me. Or is it Michelle?
It's Uncle Jesse.
He says that?
Yeah, he says, have mercy.
Oh, he did, you're right.
Yeah. And Shay Mitchell, you guys, we missed her this week, but we did see her during the show, during the commercial break. We had her appear to probably appease all of her fans, and she teased her new movie. And this new movie trailer was terrifying. Did you see it?
No, I don't have cable.
Oh my gosh, this new movie trailer was so scary. She's working in a morgue, and there's this dead body that was possessed by a demon, and now the dead body is like chasing her around the morgue. It's so scary, you guys. Check it out. And then also Shay Mitchell this week launched her quote, on-the-go lifestyle brand for the modern day explorer. So she now has amazing products, like luggage tags, a weekender bag, a passport book, and my favorite product is her makeup bag. It looks so great. And these products are called Base. That's the name of her new lifestyle brand. So go check it out.
Is it short for like basic?
No, it's spelled B-E-I-S, but pronounced Base.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's better.
And then for fans outside of the USA, You launches on Netflix on December 26th. So we'll have to confirm when it comes to the US on Netflix.
Yes.
All right.
Very exciting. We're not sure when it's coming to the U.S., but it is a co-production with Netflix, so very interesting. It will be coming soon.
So that's it for news and gossip.
I am sure. Okay, well then let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So I guess it might just be me giving them. I mean, we can talk. You can give me your thoughts on the preview for next week, but we're going to see some time pass. I was thinking tonight how much time has passed. I wasn't sure because we saw in the preview, he goes, it's been 3 months. He's with Joe's with Karen.
Mm-hmm.
And Beck.
Wait, 3 months?
I'm pretty sure he said that. Yeah.
Wow.
That's, I mean, if I'm wrong, please correct me in the chat because I could be, but I think that was in a voiceover for the preview for next week, and he's with Karen, and Beck is trying to seduce him, and I'm really still unclear of like Dr. Nikki because it shows Beck talking to him about Joe, and if they're sleeping together, would she really be doing that? You know, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think we're just going to find out a lot more about Dr. Nikki and Karen in the next episode.
Okay.
I just really feel like their storylines are going to unfold more.
Like, I don't care about you, Karen. I don't know why. I just don't care.
I mean, they're having a good time, the two of them. It seems like they're gonna, they're gonna make each other happy in the moment.
Yeah. Well, maybe Joe will say, Karen saved your life, Beck. It could have been you. but I still love you. I'm gonna kill her, get all my killing out of the way, then come back to love you. And I'll
Do you think he
kill you
would kill
later.
Karen?
I mean, who knows? If she gets in the way, he kills anyone that gets in his way.
He has no conscience.
No. Or he does. I think he's a pure sociopath where he like has a very small, weird conscience, but he's able to tune it out.
Right, because he says everything he does it for Beck.
Yeah, and then it comes back to haunt him like the haunting, ghosty things, whatever it is we think we're seeing. They're not ghosts, they're obviously his
Visions.
mind, whatever it is. But that wraps it up for talking about this episode for this week, you guys. I'm going to sign off because Maggie's going to stay for a few extra minutes. And if you guys want to stay to talk about the book and how it relates to this episode and all the things I can't talk about that I really want to, please stay. And in the meantime, when I leave, Maggie's going to be looking at the chat a little bit, but you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram, SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. I am going to be on the Riverdale After Show starting on Wednesday, so please check that out, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, Sam. Thank you. All right, guys, I'm going to hit up this chat a little bit. I want to give a shout out to a few people who are being active in our chat, like Tiffany J. Pye and FT194 and Chris Mars. And we also have Lanaya Barnett. Thank you so much, guys, for participating and joining us in the chat and watching us live. We really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to dive into my very special segment. So again, welcome back. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV, everybody. My name is Maggie, and I am going to host Book versus Show, where we talk about our beloved book, You by Caroline Kepnes versus episode 7 of You on Lifetime. So what are the differences and similarities? Let's get right into it. So first of all, we see a lot of timeline shifts between the book and the show. So in the book, Beck certainly did work at the bookshop, but it happened way earlier in the timeline than what happened in the show. Way at the beginning of their relationship, she was working at the bookstore, because if you guys remember, the first time Beck and Joe slept together was actually in the bookshop. And then that's when it only lasted 8 seconds. And then she started kind of writing him off. And then she went to Little Compton with Peach. And then that's when Peach was murdered, and the whole Dr. Nicky story came out. So I think that everything was just a little shaken up in the timeline, but that's okay. I didn't mind it. I think that it's really interesting to keep us on our toes and to keep this timeline a little different than keeping it exactly like in the book. But let me know what you guys think. I thought it was odd when she had that date in the book dungeon, because if you guys remember in the book, Joe was so possessive of his book dungeon, and he only had one set of keys, and he would never let anyone have the keys to the book dungeon, because if you remember, he had Benji locked up down there. Later on, someone else is locked up down there. I'm sure you guys remember who. But he wouldn't have left it unlocked, especially not long enough for Beck to go down there and set up a million candles and food and have this romantic date. So that seemed a little unrealistic to me, so I didn't like that part, but that's okay. And then let's see, Ethan. Oh, this is so fun, you guys. We saw finally Ethan and Blythe start their romance. We saw sparks flying between the two of them in the show, and of course, we as book readers know that the two of them develop a really nice, sweet relationship and end up getting engaged and married. So it's nice to see the beginning of their relationship. And especially because Ethan was so sad and lonely at the beginning of this episode. So it's great to see that. The surprise party was not in the book at all. This was completely made up, completely new for the show, but that's okay. I also didn't mind that. And okay, so I don't think Beck ever caught Joe following her at all in the book, but she did say that she noticed him when she had that open poetry night, when she had that open mic night. She did see Joe then, but I don't think that whole scene happened between Joe and Beck where she actually caught him red-handed. And then of course Joe and Beck see Dr. Nicky apart from one another. Joe sees Dr. Nikki behind Beck's back. And then just a couple different changes. I mean, he was called Danny Fox in the book instead of Paul Fox, and he was not gay in the book. In the book, he said that he had OCD issues. Just a few more changes. And then Karen and Joe in the book met on the subway. So we all know how that turned out if we were book readers. So we'll see more about their relationship and his rebound in the next episode, I'm sure. So again, you guys, please let me know your thoughts if you're a book reader on Book versus the Show. I'm going to put a comment thread on the YouTube page if you would like to put your comments there. Otherwise, feel free to DM me on Instagram or on Twitter. You can find me at Maggie Clark on camera on Instagram and at Maggie on Twitter. At Maggie on camera on Twitter. That's it. Sorry, it's a little confusing. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And until next week, buzz you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.